Hello and thank you all for coming to the second Q&A. I do want to apologize for this video being a day late. The previous one took longer than expected, but we're here now. I will say every question that was asked will be answered in this video. This video will also be broken up into 3 different parts. First will be questions for me, second is questions for other characters, and finally will be questions for Zane. So without further ado, going in order, here's the first question. First question is from Adrian Melarangi. They ask what town or city and what country do I live in. I actually live in Plotagonville, United States. It's pretty close to Guanajuato and about an hour away from Gold City. Next question is from DearShow74//Lanky Gaming. They ask, what is my favorite Harry Potter film and do I like their city of Telford? Truth be told, I only ever watched Chamber of Secrets and bits and pieces of the other films. They're pretty good. And unfortunately I have never been to your hometown, so I cannot say. I hope to maybe go there in the future. Next question is from Nate Boone. They asked 3 questions. Their first question was actually asked by a few others in different forms by the Among Us Fellow 2009. The Joe star behind the slaughter and our sweet Ember. As they all asked about my relationship with Dora, I figured I can give a more complete answer for all of you. I've always had a crush on Dora. I've always really liked her. She has a family that travels all over the world, and I would absolutely love that lifestyle and to be able to travel with Dora as well. Me and Dora have never dated, but, who knows, maybe we will one day. I hope that answers all your questions. Back to Nate Boone's questions. Their second question is, does Rosie compare herself to other people when they get a better grade or when they win a game she is good at? All the time. She does strive to be the best, which I guess is admirable, but she sometimes gets too competitive. Then their last question is, are my parents nice to me? As of more recently, I can honestly say they've been nicer. Before sometimes they were pretty mean, but ever since the meeting with Dr. Phil, they have gotten better. Next question is from Everything Bryn. They ask, what is my full name? My full name is Caillou Anderson. Next question is from JD. They ask, why did the chicken cross the road? If I had to guess, there had to be a good reason, so I'd say it would be to go to a KFC. Next question is from RetroMiller1997. They asked me, have I ever thought about stealing the recipe to Chuck E. Cheese's pizza? Not before, but I'm certainly thinking about doing that right now. Great idea, man. Next question is from Philippa Thury. They asked, can I do the 24-hour challenge again, and can I tell Rosie she got destroyed in the election? I've always wanted to try it again, but be successful this time doing it. And don't worry, I bring that up every now and again with Rosie. It annoys her a little bit, but hey, can't deny I won. Next question is from Zero Eyes. They ask, when I get caught with something, would I rather be with my parents or with the police? Honestly, with the police they drive me home, so either way my parents are going to know. So, I'd rather be caught by my parents, because I'm getting in trouble with them either way. Rather just get my punishment out of the way. Next question is from Stealth Splish. They ask, do I like living in the Plotagon world more or beyond? Truth be told, I like beyond, mostly because I can walk around. Otherwise I prefer here for the 3D movement. Next up is a question from Jeremiah Guy 2001 Studio. They asked, do I like all other pizzas except for Chuck E. Cheese? Now this is something I get asked every now and again, and I do want to clear this up. I like just about all types of pizza. It's just when there's pineapple on it, I don't like it. Next up is one of the few questions from Scott Clark. They ask, what do I think about Logan Paul? Truth be told, I don't really care for them. Next up is a question asked by Trent Bird. They asked, what is my favorite video game console? This may shock you, but I absolutely love my Sega Dreamcast. It may have been Sega's last console, but boy did they go out with a bang. So many classic games were on there, including Crazy Taxi. That game alone made me want to drive for Uber. Next question is from Abstract Nexus Spirit 5579. They asked, how do I feel now that I don't get grounded as much? It's awfully nice. I'd quite enjoy not being grounded as often. Which means I get to play more games. Next question is from Guy7 and the Joe Star behind the slaughter. They both asked, have I ever grown hair? This is one that was asked on the previous Q&A but does come up often. The truth is, I actually like being bald. Mostly because it's inspired by my favorite characters. Like One Punch Man. And I think being bald is stylish. But yes, if I really wanted to, I could grow hair. Next up is a question from my friends and she. They ask, if I had the genie again back from season 3, what would I wish for? A single free wish is very powerful. I know it's important to pick a good one. Not sure if I would go with the owning a Chuck E. Cheese wish from before, but it wouldn't be a bad one. If I had to do one right now, I would wish for my own airship like Tron's or Sporticus's. Then I could rule the skies. Next up is a question from Shadow Man. They ask, if I had enough money to buy a game console, would it be a PS5, Xbox Series X, or a Nintendo Switch Lite? It would have to be a PlayStation 5 because they're so impossible to get at the moment. Next is a question from Aspen Animations and Gaming. They asked, what was the first YouTubers to make a Caillou Gets Grounded series? This one is quite complicated because I personally don't know. The first grounded videos date all the way back to 2011. It's hard to say when I first came into the picture, but whatever the case, I definitely stuck around. Zane may eventually go into more detail on this. Next is a question from Ranger QWERTY. They ask, if I had a clone, would I feel bad for framing it for my own actions? The way I see it, this could go in two different ways. Either I'm going to become best friends with my clone or we're going to hate each other. Depending on how I end up feeling will definitely determine if I would feel bad or not. I have touched on 2 of the 3 questions from the Joe Star behind the slaughter, but they have one last one I haven't answered. They asked, do I hate Rosie or do I secretly love her? I honestly secretly love her. For as annoying as she can be sometimes, I know she does things that at the end of the day are in my best interest. If it came to an important decision, I know she would give me the best advice, and I would do the same for her. Next is a question from Andrew Willard Remastered. They ask, do I have cancer or something else? Because Google says I do not deserve food, hair or love. Don't believe everything you see on Google. That was probably just written by someone who hates me. I don't have cancer and I'm bald by choice. Damn haters, I say. Next is a question from Jupiter an active user. They asked, what is my favorite planet? Does Corneria from Star Fox count? Because I like that planet. Otherwise, if I have to pick a real one, then I have to go with Saturn. Next question is from Sarah Smith. They asked, what would I do if someone tried to destroy Chuck E. Cheese's? I would destroy them first. Next question is from Super Tails Lawrence. They ask, if I had to pick one super smart friend, would I go with Dexter or Mondark? Truth be told, ever since I went back to my old school, I haven't talked to Mondark much, but he was nicer than Dexter. But, at least Dexter does stuff when I ask him. Next question is from Full Mario. They asked if I ever slapped Rosie. I have. Check out the episode Rosie finally gets grounded. I did that in that episode. Next question is from WithOrchid22. They ask, would I get a PC or a tablet? Since I still go to school, I personally would prefer a tablet as a PC is not as portable. Though we have a family computer, and it would be nice if we didn't have to share it. Next up is a question from Emily Chen. They asked, what is my dream? Assuming what you mean how I dream the world to be in the future, I personally would love a world where everyone is happy and where everyone can have a fun time. No matter what. Next question is from the Dead Chicken. They ask, how did I react when the Joey and Jennifer voices were removed permanently? At first I wasn't happy, but then I found this voice and I've gotten used to it. And now the final question, from Sierra Leone Network official channel. They ask, what is my favorite country? I've never done much traveling, but I've always wanted to travel to the UK or even a place like Australia. Thank you so much for all the questions. I will now bring it to Rosie for her questions. If your question hasn't been answered yet, don't worry, Zane or one of the other characters will answer.
Hello everyone, and thank you for asking me some questions. I was asked 2 questions. The first one is from Retromiller 1997. They asked, what would I do if I caught Caillou taking LSD? Even I know Caillou isn't dumb enough to do drugs. If I saw that, I would probably call the police immediately and probably ask for ambulance. Next question is from Mushstool. They ask, how did I get so intelligent? I study a lot. Even in my own free time, I have learned the importance of studying constantly and how to problem solve. It can be tough, but that's what I found that works well for me. Thank you for those 2 questions. I will now be bringing it to my dad, Boris, who has been asked a few questions as well.
Hey everyone, and thank you all for asking me questions as well. The first question was asked by Retromiller 1997. They asked, what is my relationship like with Caillou and Rosie? If you asked me a few years ago, I would have definitely said Caillou is a problem child and Rosie is the best daughter anyone could ask for, but now, Caillou has certainly gotten better. Sure, he still misbehaves every now and again, but he has shown himself to be quite the interesting thinker. He thinks different and I like that. Rosie has pretty much stayed the same, but she's competitive, which I like too. Next question is from Trent Bird. They ask, do I think Caillou's behavior will change? I've already noticed it has changed for the better. Caillou's behavior has already been showing that it has changed. The final question is from Plataguy7. They ask, if I could go back in time to reverse Caillou's existence, would I do that? Simply put, no. You see, I understand that I personally have made some mistakes raising Caillou, and frankly reversing his existence would not fix that. I would have just made the same mistakes further down the line. I would never wish for Caillou to be gone, we just need to get him on the right path. Thank you for those interesting questions. I will now be bringing it to Dora, who has also been asked a few questions.
Hey guys. Thanks for asking me questions again. I really appreciate it. First question is from Abstract Nexus Spirit 5597. They ask, when Caillou gets on my nerves, do I feel like it will impact others? I sure do. I don't mean to make scenes, but every now and again I might have to do that just for him to leave me alone. Sometimes he needs to take a hint. Next is a question from Mushstool. They ask, are me and Rosie best friends? If so, how did we become best friends? I would certainly say we are. We met all the way back in preschool. There weren't many girls in our preschool class, so we naturally became friends. Since we rose though the grades, we have stuck together and thus became best friends that way. Thank you so much for the questions again. It's now time for me to pass it over to Leo, who was asked 1 question.
Hey guys. Great to be here too. So I was asked a question by Awesome Cat Punk. They asked me why did I become friends with Caillou. I actually have a pretty funny story about that. So, one day in gym class, I ended up making a bet with a kid that I never talked to try to pull a prank on the gym teachers. I wanted to have them put a kick me sign on their back. Funny enough, the kid actually did it. Little did I know that was Caillou. He ended up doing it, and while he might have gotten in trouble, I soon became his friend after that. He can be a real mad lad sometimes. Thanks for the question. It is now finally time to bring it to Zane for his questions.
Hello everyone, great to be here to answer some questions. So without further ado, let me get started. So these first two questions comes from Scott Clark. They asked a few more, but I had a rule of up to 3 questions per person, so I'll be only answering the 2 most interesting. Always make sure you read the rules. So the first one is, have I been grounded before? Yep, I indeed have been. Not anymore nowadays. I mean, I'm 22. At the age of 18, you kinda can't be grounded anymore. I mean, I guess you could, but that would be weird. After that, the second question I found interesting was, have I ever been to a school dance before? Yeah, I've been to one before. It was okay. Very much overhyped. Next question comes from Malky Craft. They ask, what devices do I use to make videos? I use an iPhone XR, and I also have a gaming computer that I use for everything dealing with desktop-related stuff. Next questions. I kinda just want to answer in a bit of a blanket answer as it deals with fan requests, as Rose Flowers, Adrian, and Jupiter Inactive User have all asked about making different videos. I do get a decent number of requests, and I unfortunately usually don't take them, but I may every now and again ask for ideas. So next time I do that, I will certainly take a request that I really like. Next question is from James Davenport. They ask, am I a fan of Lasagna Cat, aka Fatal Farm, and what is my lucky number? I certainly am a fan. The amount of effort that they put into some of their videos is certainly amazing, and my lucky number is 7. Next question is from Gabriel Cristofano. They ask, how long did my show make episodes, and do I like Gundam style? Now, I'm not 100% sure what the first question was supposed to be asking, but I used to do a Mayor Zane series of videos that are still on my channel too if you want to watch them, but I only did those for a few months. As for what I think about Gundam style, I honestly kind of forgot the song even existed, and it was okay. Next up are 2 questions from Stealth Splish. The first one they asked was, did I have a good Christmas? This was also asked by Trent Bird. It was pretty good. I had a fun time, and I got a lot of practical gifts this time around. New shoes, new pants, and a few other things. Stealth Splish's second question is, if COVID wasn't around, what would I have done? Probably most of the same, to be honest, but I would have to drive to work every day. The next question comes from Abstract Nexus Spirit 5579 and relates to a question asked by Black Animate, as this gets into inspiration for my videos. I do, in fact, get inspiration from other Grounded series, but as I watch them, I do sometimes ask if I could put some sort of new twist to it. I also get inspiration from TV, films, personal experiences, and ideas from my family and friends. Inspiration could come from anywhere, really. Next question comes from the Plotaguy7. They ask, now that Plotagon is back on social media, what would I like to see in the means of updates, and why? This one is actually going to be a little bit complicated. While one of the biggest things I would love to see is more than 2 characters per scene and more forms of movement for the characters, I know some of that isn't entirely realistic, as it's always been like that. The biggest thing I would love to see that's realistically can be added with the app would be additional options for extras in the scenes, including placing particular characters as an extra to help some scenes look more alive and have more reoccurring characters in the background. And now, the final question from Muststool. They asked me, which film studio would I partner up with to make my first movie? This may come as a shock, but I would love to partner up with either Studio Ghibli or Pixar. I would love to create an animated film based on the game Mother 3. It would be a dream to be able to do it, and only those big studios with such high quality work could do it justice. Well, that's all the questions. Thank you all so much for asking. It's been fun making videos, and there will be some big things ahead. Thank you all so much, and have a wonderful day.